It's funny, isn't it? You know, when you watch slip catches being taken over a number of years and what have you, you think, yeah, that's regulation, and it was. But when you're actually there with the ball coming at you, it's amazing how much more difficult it looks. Now, Barnard's driving, but he finds Captain Gubbins out in the covers, and that's no run. 18 for 1, 5 gone.
Forgive me for not remembering, but did you ever field the slips?
Very badly, but I didn't do it very often. Mark Nicholas, our captain, would never have me in the slips because he knew how bad I was, and he was right. But the amazing thing was, when I went to Wellington and played a bit of overseas proing there for Wellington, the captain at the time thought that I did field in the slips, so I fielded next to Jeremy Coney. So it was quite an amazing slip cordon for Wellington, because Jeremy Coney was a renowned slip catcher. So there was him at first slip, me at second, and actually in the first game I played, I got a catch. So they all thought I was great in the slips. When I told them I was useless, they didn't believe me. So yeah, mixed. But usually I was bad. It's a difficult position. It's a really specialist position.
So Ian Holland to bowl. And he's bowling to Will Rhodes. Right arm over. Rhodes guides that, but doesn't get it through the covers. And a tumbling stop from Joe Weatherly.
Have you fielded in the slips?
Who, me?
Yeah. Have you never?
No. They'd have put me out, off the ground if they possibly could, I think, with my fielding. I do remember taking one catch close-ish, which I was quite pleased with. But, yeah. That's gone past Rhodes' outside edge. He almost falls on his stomach playing forward to that terrific delivery. That's moved away.
That's a big leg break from full. Where's that come from? Wow. If you're watching on the live picture feed, you'll see that. Both batters having a chat with each other. Barnard just saying, that's gone miles.
In comes Holland. Oh, that one's a rather lazy shot from Rhodes. It's moving away, but didn't have to play it. That's taken by the wicketkeeper. So there's a reserve days. I'm trying to check. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I'm only saying that because Mr. Kevin Howes at 5 Live said there was.
Oh, well, he'd know.
Yeah, well, I normally take everything at face value that he tells me. He didn't tell me that, apparently. He's just saying to me, no, I didn't. So it must have come from somewhere else.
I look at the regulations, it doesn't really say, to be honest. That one's a bit leg side-ish, and Rose turns it around his pads, and it's out into the deep onto the leg side, and he'll get 2 runs for that. Rose on to 4, and it's 20 for 1.
See, I think Kevin Howes has missed a trick there, you see, because if it's true, he could take credit for it. And like he found out about the player availability, which we weren't quite sure, some of us
No.
were. I wasn't this morning when we arrived. But he found that out, got it clarified. And we all look at him and say, wow.
In comes Holland, right arm over, and that's clipped away through the onside. 4 runs for Rhodes, and I don't think it's going to go all the way. He will get 3 runs for. Is that Middleton who's fielded that? So 3 to Rhodes. A couple of things to mention on the regulations. Firstly, the minimum number of overs that constitutes a match. It's 10 overs in the group stages. It is 20 overs by the time we get to this stage. So both teams have to face at least 20 overs for there to be a result. Okay. And whereas, again, a group game, a tie is a tie. Obviously, it's not going to be in a knockout. And so it is down to fewest wickets lost if the scores are tied. Holland comes into bowl. And a little tip and run from Barnard. He hesitates, but he's through for a single. And if the scores are tied and the wicket's the same, then it goes down to what the score was after 10 overs, then 9, then 8. They are determined not to have a super over, which I think is a bit of a shame. But 24 for 1 at the end of 6 overs.
Yeah, I've not seen too many super overs over the years.
I don't think I've seen any live. There was that little one for England, wasn't there?
So, yeah, there should be more of those.
Yeah. Well, I don't see why the scores aren't tied. Yeah. I particularly think going back to 10 overs, it's a bit like when England won the World Cup. It's a rather artificial way of deciding it, but anyway.
Well, Barker's round the wicket to Barnard, in behind that one. Plays it back to the bowler. 24 for 1 then. We've started the 7th over here. And Barker into his 4th over, 1 for 8.
So no overs gone for more than 6 so far. There's been 1 maiden.
It's been an accurate start, actually.
Mm.
I do think I've seen this ball moving around this morning, probably a little bit more than I've seen in other games. So I do think Hampshire should be at least getting a 1 or 2 wicket. Well, they've got 1, another wicket or 2. Barnard plays that late, plays it well, down to 3rd. And he'll move on to 13, 25 for 1. It is an overcast condition with the ball moving a bit where you would expect to take a couple of wickets at least. So I think if they don't, might feel they've missed out.
Yeah, well, they got 1. 1 or 2 other scares.
Ball's going through nicely at the moment. Tom Prestice going a little wider. That first, well, he's 1.5 slips really, so he's the only one there keeping Ben Brown company.
Somebody's brought some biscuits with them. I didn't see who it was. But can't eat them while I'm actually commentating.
They look lovely.
Yeah, well, you can go ahead, but
Well, I might have to wait.
clock up my voice if I start eating those.
I think we'll demolish those, no problem. That swings a bit, turned away. Holland's on the 45 on the leg side, does well, dives to his left. Otherwise, that was 4. Single there to Will Rhodes. He moves on to.
Oh, is he signaling no ball? Oh, he is.
3 hit.
Well, that's exciting.
Oh, Barnard's got.
Well, he's hit 1 for 6, I think, in this season, Scott. I wasn't there, but I think I'm right. Did Barnard hit a free hit for 6 in one of the games? Yeah, I thought he did.
Well, you're allowed to change the field, I think, for this.
Yes, because they got out a single, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, now what's Barnard going to do here? He's got options. He's got plenty of options. It's for Barker to try and get the right one for him. Otherwise, even though there's big boundaries here today, this could be a difficult for Barker because, of course, we are still in the power play. So there are only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. So he's got to get this right. He's going to go full, surely he does. Whipped away. It's only going down to fine leg, and it's a catch, but it won't count. Well, there you go. It's only 1 run, but it actually was a catch down to a Nyron Donald at fine leg.
Well, if I'm Ed Barnard, I'm leaving that because I think that's going for leg side wides.
Yeah.
But he's practicing the shot now, so the no ball hasn't proved as expensive as it might. No, still costs 3 runs.
As a bowler, you're relieved at that. Certainly.
Effectively 4 from 1 legitimate delivery, isn't it?
Yeah. Free rein with only 2 fielders out. Here comes Barker. Oh, it's edge through to Ben Brown, and there's the 2nd wicket. Just straightened on Will Rhodes, and he was sucked into the drive. Not a lot of foot movements, and a regulation catch goes through to Ben Brown. Fortunately, from a Hampshire point of view, because he does tend to catch most of the ones that go behind the wicket. It's just when they go a little wider are the problems. So 29 for 2 and Rhodes goes for 8.
Are you telling us that Barker's having a difficult season? Because he doesn't look it out there.
Well, that's the thing. And, you know, generally he's bowled quite well in this competition. But, well, you've probably still seen him more than I have, but I think everybody down our way will agree that he's just not quite looked himself. But today, I have to say, he's probably bowled about as well as he has done in this competition anyway. And he's done all right. Good
applause for Sam Hain as he comes out. Played in the 100 for the Trent Rockets. Had a slightly more productive 100 than he's had in previous years. I'm still utterly baffled by the way he's used or not used by coaches and captains in that competition. Don't get it at all. He won the first match practically single-handed, and then they put him down the order. And I just don't get it. But anyway, Warwick should be delighted to have him for this competition. If you're just tuning in, we did clarify, Kevin Hales, our colleague, clarified there is nothing to stop you playing anyone you like who's on your staff at this stage of the competition now that the 100's over, other than overseas players. So, as I said before, Warwick haven't gone the whole hog. They haven't brought Dan Mosley or Chris Benjamin back, who were the other 2 they could have done. But they have brought Sam Hain back. And why not have your best player for a semi-final?
Yeah, why not? I agree. You could have had Wokes and Moeen Ali, I suppose.
Yeah. They might have struggled to get that one past England. Although, 50 over, they don't play much 50 over cricket, so it wouldn't have been a bad thing, you would have thought, from an England point of view.
Barker's round the wicket to Hain, who's leaving that one alone as it goes through to Ben Brown. That's a nice little sighter, isn't it? Yeah, his top score was what, 63 in the first game.
Yeah.
For the Rockets against
Just one on the
the
match.
Brave, the Southern Brave up at Trent Bridge. Southern Brave women who won the competition first time they have done, having played in 2 previous finals.
I must say, like you described as Paul.
Barker through to Haynes forward. Plays that back to Barker.
First, congratulations to Marie Kelly, the Warwickshire captain, for getting to the final with the opposition. And also Grace Ballinger, who commentates with us from time to time. So clearly, given our cricketing knowledge has rubbed off on her, commentating beside us. That's boosted her and helped her reach the final of the 100.
She's learned quick.
Yeah.
She must be quite good. I've seen some comments actually that people say they quite enjoy her commentary.
Yeah.
So she'll be doing.
I'm not sure whether we can afford her now that she's a 100 finalist.
It's a good left-arm bowler as well.
So, Ian Holland in, still the same 2 bowlers bowling. Why don't you do it this way as well? As Holland comes in. And that's whipped away by Barnard. He's got that through the gap. That'll be 4 runs. Well, Barnard, once again, is thriving. 2 other batters have gone. Barnard in incredible form in this competition. It was his call to, his request to open the batting. There was a sort of vacancy there with Alex Davis going to the 100. Unfortunately, he got injured, Davis, but there was a vacancy at the top of the batting order, and Ed Barnard held his hand up and says, I fancy that. And he has justified that call. This next one is bounces a bit. He's guided that down to third nicely, and we'll get a single as it runs down there to Mason Crane. So, Kevin just doing an update on BBC Radio Solent. Now, fielder and the mid-wicket boundary is coming in, so long leg is going back for Sam Hain. Still in the power play, so still just 2 fielders allowed in the boundary. They've got 2 slips. There's no rule about having catches, like there was for a few years, wasn't there? That was all a bit farcical, but you had to have 2 fielders in catching positions, and then how do you define catching positions? Well, that rule doesn't exist anymore, but they have got 2 slips in place, as Hain just takes a little step down the pitch and then pushes that up to offside for no run.
Sorry about that, I had to do a quick update.
Yes, that's all right.
My alarm didn't go off.
I've managed to miss one myself already today, which is a bit annoying. It wasn't 100% my fault, but probably 75%. 34 for 2.
Yeah, so I think Hampshire will be fairly happy with this start, but Ed
2
Barnard
wickets,
looks
yeah.
particularly dangerous. I'm sure Sam Hain's got a say in this yet.
Well, Hain's on strike now, and he's just moves across the stump slightly and plays that one to mid-on, just wide enough of mid-on to be able to go through for his first run. 35 for 2 in the 8th over.
Yes, it is. Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
This Metrobank One Day Cup semi-final.
Yes, to the cricket ground. Yes.
Final on Saturday, September the 16th. The winners of this will play the winners of the match. It starts at 2 o'clock today at Leicester, Leicestershire and Gloucestershire, which will be live on BBC Online, of course, and of course the final will be as well. That's past the outside edge of Barnard. Goodness me. How did that miss the outside edge? Just moved away as Barnard prodded at it. And Brown, wearing his distinctive bright yellow pads, takes the ball behind the stumps. So, well, though Barnard's playing, he's had 1 or 2 little scares. And Holland is in again. Second slip's gone a bit wider, and Barnard's just guided that past that second slip down to third for an agreed single, which takes him to 20. He keeps the strike, 36 for 2 at the end of the 8th over. Just 5 off the over, so 7 off the over, I do beg your pardon, which actually makes it the most productive over so far for Warwickshire. But it's still a fairly sedate power play and a dangerous one as well, with 2 wickets down.
Yeah, I mean, it's been some good bowling this morning. A little bit of help, a bit of swing for Barker, a little bit of seam movement for Ian Holland. Barker 2 for 13 from 4. Ian Holland none for 19 from 4. Barker to continue then to Ed Barnard, who's on 20. He's got a slip and a third slip, gap between 1 and 3 there is off the back foot. That's a beautiful shot there from Barnard. Just used the pace of the ball off the pitch, just allowed the ball to come onto him and just guided that through forward of point. That's a lovely shot. Beautiful piece of timing. Proper cricket shot, that one.
He's got 2 centuries in the competition this season. He is one of... I'll count them in a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's currently 9 players who've got 2 centuries or more.
Just played that late into the ground, half stopped by Prest at first slip, who palms it down to third, and in fact the pace off the ball allows the batters to come through for 2. Quite a deliberate shot, bounced in front of Prest, but couldn't quite get his hands around it.
1 player in this competition has got 3 centuries this season.
Ooh, can I guess?
Yeah, go on. Do you want a clue?
Somebody shouted something.
Yeah, that's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it, honestly?
I must admit. Oh, Roo.
No, actually. Formerly of this parish, briefly.
Oh God, I'm still struggling. Here comes Barker, bowls. It's down the leg side. That'll be a wide. Oh, they're asking for a catch, and he's gone. He's actually got a little tickle on that as Ed Barnard. It's a little bit of a death, but it's a big wicket from a Hampshire point of view. They'll take it. Barnard goes for 26, and it's 42 for 3.
Well, that's a massive blow, and really frustrating for Ed Barnard. I do, just, it's easy to say sitting up here, but it does amaze me when batters play deliveries that are clearly going to be leg side wides. Let it go. Take the wide. But Barnard was looking to glance that down to fine leg and just got the tiniest of glances on it. He's shaking his head. I don't think that's disputing the decision. I might be wrong. Maybe he is, but I think it's more, can't quite believe he's got out that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, especially when you're in good form. It is a little bit of a death. I think you're right though, but it's a bit of instinct, isn't it? That's the trouble.
Yeah.
With that Clive, it's a tough one. Now, Keith Barker, who I know I've been saying that he hasn't been great this year. He's been okay, but no more. Yeah, he looks like the Keith Barker that you know and we knew up until this season. He has 3 for 19, which currently are his best figures in this competition. He got 3 for 25 off 9. In the second game against Essex, his first game. So he's on course to slightly better that. But yeah, that's a huge blow for Warwickshire, isn't it?
The only good thing from Ed Barnard's point of view, he only just crept past Andrew Umeed to be the top run scorer of the competition by 1 run. And I would think, I can't see that there's anyone close enough to him now to threaten that position.
Well, that's something anyway.
I'll say that. Ollie Price could do it.
It's Barker to Michael Burgess, the keeper, who's driving hard back to Barker, who half stops it. So, well, he might have another game yet to increase it.
He might, but I'm thinking if he doesn't, you'll sweat on Ollie Price, actually, who's on 553. So he is 47. Yeah, he's only about 61 behind with Gloucestershire, with 1 or 2 games left.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they get any prizes these days for those. There was a time, I think, when you did. I'm not sure whether you do now.
Just a pat on the back saying, well done, son.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Burgess faces Barker. Burgess is forward. Pushes that up to extra cover. Burgess is one of 2 changes in the Warwickshire side. Hayne the other.
Yes, Burgess was only rested for 1 game. It was slightly surprising when he was, but they got 4 championship games to come, so she decided just to give him a break for 1 game. And I think also just gave Kai Smith a bit of a go behind the stumps.
Yeah.
Did well.
He's an interesting story, isn't he, Kai Smith?
Yeah.
UAE?
Indeed.
Originally. Barker bowls short. Burgess ducks underneath. That's good pace.
I think he is still UAE player. I think he was playing as an overseas officially.
Oh, right.
That's my understanding. I know Dougie Brown was listening to our commentary.
Dougie Brown?
Yeah, he's out there now, and he was listening intently. 42 for 3. 9 overs bowled, so what was that? That was 6 off the over, but a wicket as well. And Barker, was he 3 for 23?
Wow.
Yeah. Welcome back, Keith.
Yes, he loves this ground, doesn't he, really? Clearly at home, still at Edgbaston. Still getting applause as well when he walks back to his mark. They remember him fondly.
Might actually be 3 for 25. But anyway. No, I'll correct myself again in a minute. Holland comes in to bowl. Oh, my, Haynes padded up to that. He was outside. They start running a single, and they need to scamper back to avoid being run out, because the umpire made it pretty clear to them, I think, that they weren't going to be given that run, because he obviously didn't play a shot at it. So they almost got into a bit of a pickle there. Keith Parker's 3 for 19, I do beg his pardon, after 5 overs. So he's done very well, and yeah, a bit risky from Hayne. It was well outside off stump when he panted it, but Holland comes in to bowl. And that one bounces a bit. Hayne plays it down into the ground. So much riding on Hayne now, you feel, for Warwickshire, with Ed Barnard gone.
Yeah, it's always a blow, isn't it, when teams lose their players in form early on in an important game such as this. But of course, this is where bringing Sam Hayne in, you would hope from the Warwickshire point of view, kind of negates that.
Holland comes in. Hayne dances down the pitch, tries to get it wide at mid-off, doesn't succeed, doesn't get it past the fielder. I wonder whether Ben Brown might be tempted to come up to the stumps if Hayne's going to play this way. He's not doing so yet.
No, he has done when players have done this. But you're right, there's still a little bit of movement out there, though, isn't it? You've got to think about that in the back of your mind as well, in making that decision.
Well, Keith Parker's coming in at fine leg into the circle, now putting a fielder on the square leg boundary. Last over the power play, of course, so they can put a few more fielders on the boundary after this over. Hayne turns it around onto the leg side, actually takes advantage of that fielding change to run a single to the man who'd gone out into the deep. And Warwickshire limping somewhat to 43 for 3.
Yeah, it's not the ideal start. Looks like it's, at the moment, a good toss to have won. A little bit of rain forecast a bit later as well, which may affect this second innings.